Hello, and welcome to Canadian Rights Reviews, where we examine the ins and outs of Canadian rights, freedoms, laws, and policies. I have been updating some of these in the comments of the originally posted videos. However, I am aware most are not checking for updated comments. Many updates are so small they do not warrant a video on their own. As such, I have elected to do a single video to provide known updates for all of my previous content. I have been unable to find any updates regarding Chris Ivani's court appearances, related to his Canadian Tire incident. Chris has raised over $11,000 for his legal fund, through 2 fundraisers. Kelowna, what a mess. A number of minor updates here. While RCMP officer Chad Vance was acquitted of 1 count of sexual assault on February 18, the RCMP moved forward with a dismissal hearing. That hearing, scheduled for April 19, has now been postponed to July 12, 2021. An internal investigation has cleared Constable Julius Promer in regards to an allegation of excessive force on September 11, 2020. Civil lawsuits for that incident and another by a separate party are ongoing. Constable Lacey Browning remains on administration duties, while investigations continue regarding 3 separate incidents. An internal review of the initial Mona Wang incident involving Browning was concluded by the Kelowna RCMP in July of last year. An independent external review sent them back to the drawing board. Constable Siggy Petersak was charged with assault in April, for using a suspect's head as a punching bag in an incident that went viral from May of last year. I had originally covered the Dawson Creek arrest of Kevin J. Johnston in March. At the time, I made a choice to ignore other public issues related to the man. Now there are so many issues, I cannot provide an update without providing a more complete story. In July of 2017, Kevin was arrested and charged with willful promotion of hatred against an identifiable group, under the Criminal Code Section 319(2). This is the area of the Criminal Code that deals with hate crimes. The charge related to an offer of a monetary award for videos of Muslim students praying in schools. The charges have yet to be prosecuted, and the current status of the case is unknown. Kevin's opinions have often been found controversial and has led to the suspension or cancellation of many social media channels on a consistent basis. A pattern that remains true to this day. In May of 2019, a judgment came down in a civil case of defamation, for a series of videos and comments directed at the owner of a chain of Middle Eastern restaurants in the Toronto area. While putting Mr. Johnston on the hook for $2.5 million in damages, the judge described Johnston's behavior as reflecting a contempt for Canada's judicial process, an abuse of the very freedoms this country affords them, and a loathsome example of hate speech at its worst, targeting people solely because of their religion. As I have previously covered, on March 25, 2021, Mr. Johnston was arrested for assault in Dawson Creek, BC. The case is proceeding to trial and a pre-trial conference date has been set for June 28, 2021. On May 14, 2021, Alberta Health Services was granted a restraining order against Mr. Johnston, after he exposed personal information, and made what were considered to be open threats against AHS staff. The following day, Mr. Johnston was arrested, for violating public health orders while attending an anti-lockdown gathering. Comments previously made by Mr. Johnston, that led to the AHS restraining order, included reference to soon having access to all of AHS staff's personal information via the voter list for the upcoming Calgary mayoral race. On May 18, the city announced it would not be preparing a voters list for the election due to these comments. On May 26, Mr. Johnston was again arrested in Edmonton. The arrest was made for an outstanding warrant for causing a disturbance, related to a May 22 incident in Calgary. May 28 saw a judge denying Mr. Johnston bail on his latest arrest. The judge found that Mr. Johnston is considered too high of a risk to reoffend, and ordered he be held without bail pending trial. He is due back in court May 31, 2021. If the denial of bail stands, it would seem Mr. Johnston's run for mayor of Calgary is pretty much effectively done. Campaigning from a jail cell seems difficult at best. I find it hard to fault Mr. Johnston with some of the positions he takes. I also feel the rights infringements in this country are out of control. That said, the way in which he chooses to convey his message, and the way he conducts himself leaves much to be desired. Earlier this year, Canadian Rights Media was unlawfully arrested and charged with stunting, in a video I had previously covered. After entering a plea of not guilty and having a court date set, Crown has elected to withdraw charges after reviewing the case. Link to his update video in the description. News Now Victoria's follow-up series of his June 2018 arrest is ongoing, and was most recently continued with Part 18, showing Dan and Bruce Dean's reaction to the first viewing of his own arrest footage, after finally having it provided to him for his defense from his seized equipment. Link in the description. In a previous video titled, When Therein Attacks, I covered the first YouTube video of Canadian Transparency Media. CTM has since changed their name to Citizen News Network and is still going strong. In the case of Josh Walker's arrest at Upper Canada Mall, I have found no recent updates. However, Rebel News did provide a follow-up story to the arrest shortly after the incident. Link in the description. A shamed Canadian was arrested while live streaming in his home, as I had previously covered. Ashkan continues to live in the same residence, as finding new accommodations during a lockdown has proven difficult. He has been attempting to follow up, to gain information, and representation related to filing complaints and perhaps a lawsuit, in relation to that arrest. He has had little luck on both fronts. If you know of a civil rights attorney, in the New Brunswick area, that may be willing to look into his case, please either contact him directly or myself, and I will pass on that information. I know of a few developments in the case of the 5-Dan arrest, as filmed by Canadian Rights ET. The one I can share is that well after the incident, and only after the footage was posted online. Officer Sam Choi elected to pursue obstruction charges against Canadian Rights ET for his role that day. Based on facts I had previously covered in my review, and some that will remain unshared for now, confidence is high that both individuals will see a positive end in this case. A very small update in the murder case of Braden Herman. The accused officer Bernie Herman has resigned from the RCMP. He had previously been suspended with pay, while being held on remand, pending his next court date on June 9, 2021. Links for all updates, stories, and videos are provided in the description for further follow-up. If you come across any further information on my previous coverage, please send me an email so I can update information for everyone. In addition to my previous content, I have also recently started getting out and filming as well. I remain committed to continuing to provide my original content, along with this new endeavor. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again soon.